So it's 20 years since this came out, and it's great to have you both here and to be talking about it, you know, because...
Look at how perfectly positioned we are.
I know, it's almost the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing success for us commercially and artistically, and this image has become part of our history, you know, and it's just amazing that it's associated with such a beautiful photograph of you two. So yeah, I mean, for us, the title of the album is always difficult because it's supposed to represent a body of songs, and sometimes the songs don't necessarily have anything that links them. But for us, around the making of this album, the track that stood out for us was Without You I'm Nothing. And it just seemed for us to work on so many levels between us as a band, because at that time we were spending more time with each other than with any other friends or family. And early on realized that we had to form a gang, the band, and we had to be really tight-knit, because even though the turbulence going on within our relationship, because we were together all the time, you know, and had its ups and downs, we had to be strong. We were kind of taken on this kind of roller coaster ride of fame and success, and you know, we needed to hold on to each other. And also on a kind of romantic level, you know, in a relationship, you know, that kind of dependency and almost like to the point of an addiction. You know, or like sort of completions, like I'm nothing without you. When it came to the cover, we wanted to somehow represent that, and it was also some kind of romantic idea for us, you know, this kind of bond between people that might be so deep and kind of hard for people to understand who weren't in that relationship. You know, the idea of twins came up, and that's kind of the brief that we kind of wanted to go with. Again, I guess that's how you guys were contacted.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think we talked about it on the phone yesterday, and we talked about this as well, but there's some sort of serendipitous moments with regards to our work in the music industry, and also with Nancy Boy.
Yeah, you said that you were actually on the T-shirt, Brian's T-shirt in the video for Nancy Boy.
So Brian's wearing a T-shirt for a record sleeve for an artist called Depth Charge, and it was myself and 3 other girls. You ended up doing the television plugging for Nancy Boy, and I was on the T-shirt that Brian was wearing in the video.
Because I think we all came to London around the same time, around the age of 18. And I think if you work in the music industry or that, there was like a scene, you know, because you would go to see bands, or you would go out at night and you would see probably the same people.
So I think I got a phone call when I started working at a publicity company to ask, would we be interested in doing the shoot for your record sleeve? I don't think we were told it's an album, we were told it's a record sleeve, and it's Corinne Day, and I was like, well, amazing.
So we went to a casting in Soho,
and
I think there were about 3 other sets of twins, and it's kind of weird being around loads of twins.
At that age, we were kind of like not wanting to be twins, because you go through stages. And I think we were in a stage, because I've got super blonde hair there, and you've got natural hair, and we were kind of like, let's do what we can to kind of look different.
So from the casting to the shooting, was it a long time? Was that quick?
I don't think so. I don't know that I think it might have even been like a week or 2.
Yeah, I think so.
And then you said you shot this one day with Corinne Day.
Got up at the crack of dawn, and we were driven for miles out of town, and ended up in a...
That sounds dodgy.
We were just like, where are we going? I don't even know whether the sun had come up until we got there.
I don't think it had, actually.
It's just this huge, empty, like, just kind of spooky, disused school.
Yeah, a lot of the inset photographs are from that school.
Lots of wooden kind of cladded walls and big stairways.
That was all that was in that room, was the table and the curtains, but the wallpaper was peeling off, and it was a good sunny day.
There wasn't even chairs. We were literally kind of half kneeling.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's right,
Yeah, I think we were kind of into the idea of the beauty of things kind of decaying, you know, like sort of dead flowers, and also having spent a lot of time in council flats in South London writing the first album and parts of this album as well. So that really appealed to us then. And I think that's why we kind of went for Corinne Day as well, because there was that kind of, not hyper-realism, but there was something that wasn't very, you know, fashiony. It wasn't very flashy about, you know, her style.
It was really raw, but also really emotional.
And did you know when you were taking that photograph that there was something special about it, or was it one of many?
That was probably the most comfortable we were on the day. That part.
I was just absolutely blown away by how they were all working the camera with her, and I was just kind of like, oh, is this how it is? I've got more to aspire to now.
Yeah.
So how was it working with her on that day?
She was super, I think specificity is a good word for her. Everything she did,
Yeah.
like if she was taking your picture now, she'd be like head that way a little bit, mouth open, eyes. She'd get you to move there'd be tiny little movements.
Did she tell you kind of what vibe she was going
Not at all. No,
Okay,
it was all
so-
a mystery.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we experienced a bit of that as well when
Yeah.
we worked with her. You know, she was quite intense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But
You could tell there's just a million thoughts going through her mind, and then she'd say minimal words. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the photos as well. It's like with the attention to detail, because I don't think there was much photoshopping or any retouching back then, because this is late 90s.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what to expect
Yeah.
at all.
No, not at all.
And then when it came out, we were just really pleased with it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
Shot.
first time that you saw it?
I was trying to work out
I
whether
think it was when it was released.
Yeah, I was trying to work out
I
whether.
think so.
I think
yeah.
it was too.
I think we were just a little bit nervous of how big it was, because we didn't expect it to be. I don't think we even knew it was going to be your album.
No.
Yeah, because I remember we got the contact sheets, I think somewhere in West London, and that's how we chose the photos back then. It was just, you know, with lots
Yeah.
of small images
Yeah.
from the developed film. And that was the one that really felt like us, that kind of conveyed what we wanted with the album title. I think when it comes to this kind of thing, it's just something where we just have to feel what felt right for us. It's kind of like a gut instinct.
Yeah.
And, you know, the three of us in the band had to be comfortable with it as well. And I think it came down to the simplicity of it. I think there's a certain introspection, because I think for us with the second album, it's like we started to become a little bit more kind of introspective, because the first album was more like a party album, you know, tracks like Nancy Boy. And when it came to the second album, it was a bit more like, oh, you know, there is a down from the up kind of thing. And I think we started to become a little bit more contemplative and started to kind of, I suppose, a bit more analytical and just kind of looking at perhaps the less pleasant sides of human emotions and kind of the darker aspects of it. I think a lot of times we would probably be found sitting at a table somewhere just kind of with that stare, just kind of going,
What just happened and what's
yeah,
next?
and sometimes like, wow, I should be feeling amazing because of everything that's going on, but actually inside, you know, that's not how I'm feeling. And then just kind of dealing with the fame aspect and the crazy lifestyle. So I think at this point, we were probably hung over in New York, kind of looking and going, yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, for us it became, you know, really iconic. It became something that was associated with us, because we went to New York to shoot the press shots around this campaign. And I think our label said, yeah, it'd be a great idea, you know, go to the States, get some shots with the Manhattan skyline in the background, let's crack America kind of thing. And we're like, okay, cool, let's go to New York for the weekend. You know, we brought, you know, our stylist and our manager, you know, it was the whole posse. And went over there, and yeah, it was like 7 a.m. start, and then we were sort of at, you know, disused bar in Manhattan, then we had to go to Hoboken. But the funny thing about that shoot was that there was nothing in the shots that made it look like we were in Manhattan or in New York, you know. And I think that just kind of that was Corinne Day. She was like, okay, this is what I want. You know, we just kind of went with what we felt comfortable with. Which is a lot of kind of slouched out, kind of looking like we haven't slept for 7 days. And this is the great thing about vinyl, is that you have large spaces to portray images and photography for really to come alive, you know.
Do you know what's funny for me, if I may speak about
amazing.
this? When this first came out, I was really kind of upset about how raw and honest it was, because you can see all the little sort of spots and blemishes and beauty spots and little loose bits of hair and things like that, which sounds super vain, but now, like, the way the world is, it's totally cool to be like this, which is brilliant. But at the time, I think we were kind of like, I was really sort of like, I kind of didn't want people to open it.
Right. I think it's beautiful.
This was in the afternoon, wasn't it? This was out in a little shed that was literally all jet black with one window, and it was just you with Corinne, and then just me with Corinne, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And I think it's something for us at this time as well. Like, we wanted to be honest, you know, through our lyrics and, you know, who we were as people, you know, in interviews. And just generally as a band, we didn't want to hide behind anything, So I think for us, it was just amazing to have such stark and almost naked, and to the bone, and very personal, images.
You're not going to open it up, God.
Oh, what? Yeah. Yeah, to the extreme close-up.
Yeah.
Having a coffee.
Shot from a screen.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Somewhere in Manhattan, as you can tell.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And then Brian and Steve, on the back, probably in the hotel, actually, somewhere. Yeah, we're in a dodgy part of town, basically, and there was police sirens and helicopters flying above, and turn on the TV, and it's like, murder, in such and such, and it was just outside the window. So it's pretty surreal. There's something that I like about, the vinyl and the fact that it's an image and you can read, your own story into it. And I was thinking about it, before we sat down today, and I was going, is this the right thing to do? Because it might break the mystery for people, and they go, well, that's not the story that I had, and
of course.
I just wanted to sit down and talk about it because we haven't really talked about it.
Yeah.
And also because of Corinne Day, who's sadly no longer with us, for all the hard work that she made us do that day, I still have a place in my heart for her,
Yeah.
So it just feels like honoring her in a way to talk about it, and also, it's a very important album for Placebo in terms of where it led us to, and how much the album meant to us at that time, because it was such a huge part of our lives. To me, it's more that. It's like an honoring of it and kind of celebrating it, and remembering the people that were there and the people that were there and who are not here today.
Yeah.